Hey, and welcome back to FarmSim 19. And what I've done is I figured out the plow problem. So we're going to go ahead and I tested it just to make sure it was going to work. But I did indeed leave some of the work for you guys to see. So this is what we ended up with. There are certain plows that can plow a new field, and there are certain plows that really can't. So this is one that can. We're just going to go around here. You can see there's the field I'm going to finish plowing with you guys. And we'll talk a little bit about what else I did. So what I did was I picked through the plows and saw what the problem was and picked the correct one to solve the problem. And then I tried this out, and then I exercised the horses except for just the one. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. But first things first, what we're going to do is finish plowing up this field, and then we're going to plant the field with oats. And that should be good for the episode. Now, strangely, this says limit to fields. Oh no, this is allow fields. Yeah. I'm lifting it so as not to go outside the lines here. All I did was make a little square somewhere on my property, and now I'm just going to plow within it. You don't have to make a square or a rectangle or, you know, basically this shape. You can make whatever shape you want. And in my case, I like making things that are more square than not because it makes it easier to work on later. At least it does in my opinion. And if you don't find that to be true, you don't have to do that. That's the beautiful thing about FarmSim, is you can do it. You can play it however you want. You don't have to have horses. That's something I just haven't done before. So I decided I wanted to try that out. You could do just crops. You could do lumberjack stuff. You could do cows and make them and do milk and cheese and that kind of stuff. You can do goats and sheep and do wool and goat milk. All kinds of things you can do. There's what are called productions in this game as well. They're a little bit clunky in FarmSim 19, but they're still pretty fun in that you can take the products that you make, the raw products that you grow and tend in your fields, and turn them into finished products that you can then sell after a process. So that's fun too. At least I think it's fun too. But the one thing I hadn't done was horses. So I wanted to play around with horses, and I know that horses need oats, and they need straw, and they need hay. So the good thing is, two of those things come from the oat crop. You can get clearly the oats from the oat crop, but you can also get the straw as well, and that is something we will be getting when the crop comes due. Now, because of the stupid little mistake I made with the plow, I had to buy a much more expensive plow, and you can see my money is not all that great right now. $9,000. So we're going to have to figure some things out maybe and make it so that we can afford to do a harvester, which when the time comes for the oats to come out to be harvested. And we'll have some options there. I'll do some research. It's not going to come up anytime soon because, you know, your crops have to grow, just like in the real world, at least to a certain extent. You have to wait for your crops to grow. So that's what's going to happen here as well. The crops are going to have to grow after we plant them. I've got the settings set relatively easy, so there's no seasons. So you can grow anything at any time. Um, but you can set it so that there are seasons, and you can only harvest things during a particular season. You can only plant things during a particular season. And you could go as crazy and complicated as you want, be as immersed in it as you want. You saw that I just went to my paddock over there and bought my horses, and they just appeared. Well, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it a lot more realistic in that you have to have an animal trailer to transport them, and you have to go to the animal dealer who will sell you the horses, and you have to put them in the trailer, and you transport them back, and you can do whatever you want with that. It is entirely up to you as the player. And again, that's one of the great things about FarmSim, is it can be as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. And I showed you, at least I think I showed you, that you can drive completely in cab, and you can turn around and look out the back, or the mirrors do function. You could see there that the mirrors are functioning, so you can look out the back and drive backwards that way and drive forwards in the cab, and you can do all that kind of stuff. I am not as into that part of it, so I don't do that. I'll do it this way here, just so you can see what that looks like. And it's now attached to my tractor. One thing about the FarmSim game, one level of realism, is the seeds. And for this, you can just select, all seeds are the same, and you just select with the planter which ones you want to plant. In this case, I just hit the Y button, and I have selected oats. And you can only plant in a field that you've prepared. So we have to turn the thing on, and that's the B button. And then we have to lower it. And then we can start going forward and putting our seeds in the ground. You can get as complicated as needing to fertilize the seeds twice a cycle. You can do all kinds of things with this. But it's entirely up to you as the player. And that's kind of what I like about it. Me, I like, whoa, I'm going way too fast. That is something you'll learn, is you can only go a certain speed with the equipment that you have. And if you're not actually actively operating the equipment, it will let you go a lot faster, and it will screw you up a little bit, like that did to me. So you can set a speed limit for yourself. It looks like this is 9. So when we get to the edge here, we'll stop. We'll raise the thing. We'll set this down in the lower right hand corner. You see me dropping the speed limit down, and I have it down to 10, which is slightly faster than what you could go with the actual tool. So you can approach your field in a more sedate manner, which is what I like to do, so I don't crash into something, because I will crash into things. Happily, there's no real damage in this game. I mean, there's normal wear and tear on the equipment, but there's no damage done if you crash into things. All right, I think you get the gist of planting and what that's going to look like. That's going to take a while to do that. So I'm going to hire an automated worker to do that. Look at that. There he goes, doing his little job. And I can go do something else. In this case, that something else is going to be go and ride the last horse that needs to be ridden. So that is, it's not That's Patches? That's a stupid horse to be Patches. Why isn't that one Patches? But whatever. Okay. We can see which horse needs to be ridden by clicking on the animals, and it is Harley, who is brown with black socks. So let's find Harley. Are you Harley or are you Phantom? Oh, you're Watson. Okay. Watson, come here. I need you. Is this Harley? Ah, yes, that's Harley. So we have jumped on Harley's back. We are riding out and doing some dressage. And what I did with all the other horses is I rode a set pattern that I know will give me 100% effectiveness on their daily training. And I can show you that, what that looks like. Basically, we come to this little dirt area here, and now we ride down our road. And we ride down our road. It's a nice dirt road, so it's good for the horse's hooves. And speeds really don't matter. There's your gallop. There's your canter. Looks like that. Here's your trot. And there's your walk. I like galloping because it kind of does the same job faster. And the way you could tell how effective your training is by going into the horses and finding the one that you're riding. And she's at 23% now. So there you go. And I say she, I'm just going by the name. I don't know that the horses are gendered in this iteration of FarmSim. I know that in later versions they are, and you can breed them and get as complicated with it as you like. I don't know if looking at the rider here, if they're a good rider or whatnot. Any of you who are into horses can tell me better. All I know is this person has some dubious fashion sense with the acid wash jeans that he's working with in the farm. Now we should be approaching 50% because we're about halfway done riding this horse. Some of the other things you can do is logging, and these are logs. I don't know if you can touch them. I think they're just decoration. But all the trees, if they're on your property, are cut. You can cut them down. The other thing you could do is contracts. And this is a field I think that you could have contracts on. So if we take a look here at the contracts, field 26 needs sowing. This one needs, these all need sowing. So I don't know what field that is. So let's look. That's field 26. They want you to sow in that. I don't know how you're going to sow in that because it's kind of full of weeds and junk. But you can. And the cool thing about that is you can do the farm work, and very often they will allow you to borrow their equipment for a nominal fee. And you can get paid at the end for the work that you do, which is a good way to earn extra income if that's what you're concerned with in a playthrough. I'm really not all that concerned that much with that. There are series that you could play that you can set your own rules around it and make it as crazy as you want. There's a popular thing is to make $5 million profit in 5 years. You can see that kind of content. There's a streamer called Socks Way Up, SWU, and FarmSim. And so if you look him up, he's in the middle of a FarmSim 25, 5 million in 5 years playthrough. And he's a computer programmer. He writes XML, so he does some cool stuff with the game itself. He's creating his own map. So if you're into that kind of content and you want to go into that hardcore as well, don't leave me. But if you're into that more hardcore content, you could go check out Socks. I enjoy his stuff. He's one of the ones I watch. He's one of the ones I've stuck with when it comes to that. The other guys I follow as streamers are Darkness429. He is mostly a milsim guy, so he'll do Arma. He also does Tarkov, or also used to do Tarkov. He does all kinds of stuff, and he's a fun guy, so he's fun to watch. He also does a lot with St. Jude and charity, so that's pediatric cancer, childhood cancer is a very, very just cause, and he raises a lot of money for them. So once you ride your horse, they wander off, and you've got to find them because you have to clean them. You can't just leave them dirty because part of their value is based upon their cleanliness. So here's Harley, and let's take a look at her value right now. Here's Harley. Her value is 27.13 because she's filthy. So, don't trample me, Harley. There, Harley is clean. And look, Harley is worth now 2,960. Now, so the horses go up in value as this number goes up, and that number goes up as you ride them. Oh, Harley only got 98%. Well, she's only going to get 98% because that's what she's doing. All right. When I bought them, this is where you buy them. They're 5,000 or 29. Yeah, they're worth 5,000. So what you have to do is take care of them, and they will increase in value. And then you can sell them, which is what I intend to do. Let's take a look at our tractor over here to see how it's doing with the plowing. I think they're about halfway done, which is nice. Nice. And yeah, see, it is oat, and it is owned by me, and it is growing, and it is not fertilized at all. So we will need to come up with a way to fertilize our crops. That is neither here nor there. We will figure that out. But in the meantime, where is our... What we're going to do next is we have to wait for that field because I only have the one... tractor. And it's doing its thing over there. So once that's done, I could just hop in it, and I could do it. What? Why no dude? Oh, because it's not turned on yet. There we go. Now it should go and actually put seed in the ground, which is nice. So, this is the process with FarmSim. And it can be a little tedious, I suppose, if it's not what you're into. But I find it, as I said, relaxing that I can do this and I don't have to worry about shooting anything or performance because, you know, everything is fixable here and I can just chatter at you folks. I may start doing this as live stream instead of VOD, but I just want to see what kind of response this content gets on my channel, because I know you guys are mostly here for MechWarrior Online and when I did it Clans, but I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. I don't know how much longer MechWarrior Online is gonna be around, and I know none of us wants to hear that, but I think it's the reality. I want to be prepared for the eventuality that it's not going to be. So I am kind of diversifying my portfolio now, so to speak. And the other reason is the state of the game now. It could be a little tedious because the games that you are playing, aren't always really high quality games. They're not a whole lot of fun all the time. And the reason for that is um, the types of players that you're getting. You're either getting the hyper skilled, hardcore, um, if you're into gaming parlance, sweaty players, and I'm not a bad player. I'm a upper mid tier player. I've always been tier 3, tier 2, most of the time. I'm never going to be a tier 1 guy because I don't play enough, and I don't play meta builds all the time. I don't drop with people who I know. And if you're a solo player, it can be a little rough, depending upon who you get teamed with, and it can be a little tedious. As you saw during my live streams recently, you get a lot of rotato potato, and you better hope that the other team hasn't figured out a strategy, or you are the team, or you are on the team that's got the strategy. There was a great illustration of that on the Canyon Network battle that if we didn't do that a particular strategy, we probably would have lost. And mercifully, the team listened. But it's not just me that's experiencing that, because that's a perfectly valid argument. Is, hey, you're a mid-tier player. Um, you know, this stuff is going to happen to you when you're playing with other mid-tier players. Well, you all know how the drops work. As a tier 3, I drop with tier 1 and tier 2, as well as tier 3. I sometimes drop with tier 4 and tier 5, but I drop with everybody, and I can see, and I see streamers like DTB and Phil from NGNG and Evan Golis. I see him out there all the time, and Sultan and Beef, and a lot of top tier players. And just watching their streams, which I'm sure some of you do, they experience the same thing when it comes to the teams. So, I mean, for my own mental health, I like to kind of mix it up a little bit. It doesn't mean I don't love the game, because I do, or else I wouldn't play it at all. It just means that sometimes I want to do something else. And if I'm doing something else because I'm a casual streamer and a casual content creator, I need to be recording that and putting that out for people. So I'm just trying to find some things that people like. And I find this game to be very therapeutic. And I don't know I mean, I enjoy watching it because I like seeing what the guy is doing, and listening to them talk about what their plans are, and all that kind of stuff. I find that interesting. I also like to kind of backseat farm and say, well, what the heck did you do that for, you knucklehead? And believe me, you'll have plenty of opportunity to do that on my channel. Heck, just any of you who are watching this and saw me buy that plow that I bought at first, you were probably screaming into your television, said, hey, he's not going to be able to plow with that. And you'd be right. But it is what it is, at least not on this map. Some maps are different, and that's the cool thing. That's the other cool thing about FarmSim, is the modding community, especially for this one, FarmSim 19. All the mods that have been made are out, and there are hundreds of them, and you can go crazy with mods. I really do enjoy looking at the different mods and seeing how they work and whatnot. I only get them from the built-in hub in the game that has them, because that ostensibly they've been vetted by giants, and they're safe, and they're not full of viruses that are going to take over your computer. There are other sites out there. You'll never see me use them, and you'll never see me use mods that are exclusively on them. All of my mods come from the in-game mod hub, and that means they're safe, at least from exploitation of somebody hacking your machine. They don't always work. Most of them do, but you can't promise that they all will. Even in a community that's sort of stagnant at this point with FarmSim 19, since there's 2-3 other newer versions out. um, you're still going to find the odd um, mod that doesn't work as it's supposed to function. So it is what it is. But you can really customize your experience, and that's what I like about it. Couple more rows here. We're just about finished up. One really neat mod is Courseplay. I don't use Courseplay. I think there's a level of engagement with the game that I think is minimally acceptable for me to be actually playing the game. And Courseplay, I think, crosses the line a little bit. I could see how some folks don't feel that way, and that's okay. Again, you know, it's the beauty of this game is you can play it how you can play it how you want to play it. Hopefully with a little more skill than I just displayed there. But ooh, look out, the farmer's drunk. Oh, and I didn't drop the stupid thing. Oh well, let's turn back around and go at it again. Do it the right way. Let's stop. Let's lower the sower. Let's hit our cruise control. And let's not be a drunken farmer. And we're going to be a drunken farmer anyway. But that's okay. We didn't miss any spots. Alright. There are also guys that like to do music and whatnot. I could do that if I wanted to. I don't really think it's necessary. So you'll just have to put up with me running my mouth most of the time. So that's what I'll do. Alright, so the field is plowed. And I'm enough of a realistic player that I don't like to drive through the field once I've plowed it, even though, as you can see, it doesn't do anything because I've got crop destruction turned off. But may leave a tire print, but that'll disappear shortly. So, alright. The next thing we want to do here is do our other thing that the horses need, and that is they need hay. And hay comes from grass. And on this map, and most of the maps, all the stuff you see out here that's green, well, that is indeed grass. And you can mow it. You can also make a field, and you'll get better yields, and the grass will grow better. But to be honest, why did I do that way? I want that in the back because that's the back blades. Or else I have to drive in reverse, make it cut. Now we go around here, and we get the front, and we can mow some grass. And then we will ted the grass, meaning we'll dry it with a special little fan contraption that you drag behind your mower. And then we will windrow the grass so that we can then scoop it up with that forage wagon there, and we will give it to our horses, and they will be happy. Honest, they will. So the way we're going to do this is we're just going to come out here. Where does our property end? We are right on the edge of my property, so let's do it out here. Let's do it out here. We'll mow this out here. We're going to run over our field a little bit, but that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't hurt anything. We unfold the mower, and then we unfold the front mower. Oh. Okay, only the back unfolds. So we lower the mower, and then we lower the back mower. And is it on? No, it's not on. Let's unfold it. Turn the mower. Is it all of it or just the front? I think just the front is turned on. Back is turned on. Then let's go to the front and turn it on. Alright, so there we go. Now all of our mowers are turned on and lowered. And if you look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, right over the little display thingy, the controls thingy, it will tell you that, hey, this thing is on and in what position it's in. You can see that it's lowered. So we just got a simple bar system here that we are using to mow our grass. And if we were playing like we were being in a simulation, we would raise it, lower it every time, but we are not that. I am not that guy. Again, if you expect that guy, run a search for FarmSim and you'll see guys out there that are. I'm not that guy. I like to play around with stuff, and that's what I do here. I'm not a real farmer. See, you got to be careful when you're talking and you have one of those devices by Mr. Bezos in your house, because she'll start to do stuff all on her own. And that was not what I intended to happen there. But fine. Now you can see we've got a nice big area here of grass that we're cleaning up here, that we're cutting down here. And what we'll then do is we will ted it up, and then we will windrow it, and then we will go ahead and pick it up with the forage wagon, and then we will dump it in the horses, and they will have hay, which is something that they want. So we will just go ahead and do this mowing. And if this were an actual field, again, I could hire a worker to do it. But this is not an actual field, so I can't hire an actual worker to do it. Why would I want to anyway? Well, I could, because if I had a second tractor, I would clean up behind this tractor and shorten the time that it takes to do the work. But in this case, I don't have a second tractor, so it's just going to take a little longer. And that's okay. Because as I said, half the fun with this game is just relaxing and not having to worry about doing some of the other task-oriented things and PvP stuff with other video games. And this game is beautiful. Those little rolling hills and the rocks and all the things. It's a very beautiful game. I do love the sounds. I mean, listen to that of that bar cutting that grass. That's awesome. I do have a mod you'll see up there called Real Mower. That will also take down shrubs and weeds and whatnot too. Doesn't do it 100% on FarmSim 19, but it does a good enough job. Especially for what I'm using it for. I'm just making hay for the horses to eat. I don't need to have a perfect field for that, although it would make life maybe a little easier. I mean, I don't know how. This is going to grow and do its thing just as well as other, a formal field would do. There are ways to make lots of virtual money in FarmSim that involve making silage, cutting the grass and wrapping it in bales and turning it into something else that can either be used for to feed livestock or other things. And need to worry about that. If I need more money in game, I'll give myself more money in game. It's not. This is not a role playthrough that I have to worry about making sure loans are paid off and that sort of thing. So it's all good. I'm just here to chatter with you guys and to play the game, enjoy myself. So I'm going to let the sounds of the game kind of talk for me here for a little bit, finish up this work, and maybe I'll do a cut to doing the tedding, and I'll see you all back when that happens. Alright guys, here is the other device that we're going to use. It's called a tedder. And what it does, I think it's a tedder. The tedder or the windrower? Yes, the tedder. What the tedder does, as I said, is it dries out the grass. So we're going to go ahead and unfold it. And we're going to turn it on, and we're going to lower it, and then we're going to drive, and you'll see that the grass changes color here to a yellow. That is your hay. So this thing is making hay, and it is noon in the game, and that means the sun is high. So I am indeed making hay while the sun is high. These are the jokes. You're here voluntarily. You don't know that I'm going to tell bad jokes by now. And you haven't been paying attention for the last year. But that's all this is simply driving through the field, turning the grass, blowing on the grass and stirring it up that you cut, grass clippings, and it makes it into a hay product. Now, how realistic is this? Probably not very. More than likely, this takes, you do this and you leave it on the field and it dries and all that kind of stuff. Ignore that pathway up there where I clearly forgot to turn the mower off. You don't see that. But so for real, they probably leave it out for a while, but it happens instantaneously in the game because each day is actually a month. So I guess you're realistically doing this over the course of over a week or a couple of days or whatnot, and it dries itself that way. But that's what this process looks like. I'm not going to bore you with watching the whole thing. We'll probably go ahead and do another jump cut, and that'll be fine. And you will get to see what the next step in the process is, and that is windrowing it. And what that does is, you'll see what it does. Once we're done doing the tedding, we'll go a little bit, and then we'll come back to it when it's done, and I'm switching tools on you. Alright guys, here we have the windrower, which is the next step in the process here. We're going to go ahead and unfold this puppy. And then we're going to turn it on once it's lowered. Or unfolded, and then we're going to lower it. And what this thing is going to do is take all these rows of, or all this hay now, and it's going to move it into rows. So it'll be more easily picked up by the forage wagon. And it'll save me a bunch of grief having to do this more than I need to. And there'll be a little bit of double work here as we go up and down this field here. But it makes it a heck of a lot easier, at least in my opinion. So that's pretty simple. All right. See how fast this tool moves? 10 miles an hour. Might be able to go a little faster. I don't know. Let's see, can it? Oh yeah, it can go 11 miles an hour. Sorry for boring you unnecessarily. But yeah. Well, we're missing a little bit, but the world doesn't end if I miss a little bit. I was missing a lot there. We'll fix that. That's okay. We'll loop around. This is probably not the most efficient way to do it, but this is me doing it, so. The good news is if you do it, you can try and be more efficient if you want to. Look at the birds flying around. How cool is that? Stupid birds. You're going to get run over by a windrower. There we go. Not so stupid birds. I'm glad that there's not so much realism that these things get hung up in shrubbery, because this would 100% get hung up in that shrubbery there. But it didn't. Maybe we'll get a chainsaw and chop that down if we decide we're going to make this into a real field. Well, if we do make it into a real field, I will 100% chop that tree down, because you don't want a tree in the middle of your dang field. It's a pain in the butt. Alright. So you see how this thing is going. I will continue rowing up this hay, and then when it comes time to pick it up, I will join you back with the next tool. Alright, the wind rowing is complete. We'll see it when we go back. This is the next tool right here. This is the forage wagon. And this is how you pick up all that hay. You just put into nice, neat rows back behind us. So this thing has like a brush to pick stuff up off the ground. So we lower the pickup, we turn it on, and we don't go all that fast because that's the way this thing works. So we'll just turn it off for a second, and then we'll go once this all spawns in up here. We'll turn it right back on again, or lower it anyway, and we'll do our thing, picking up this forage. And you'll see a percentage bar down here in the lower right. I'm pointing at it like you can see me pointing, but as you can see, it says hay, and it's picking it up and throwing it in the back of the forage wagon there. And we'll be able to dump this out into the feeding trough of the horses, because they like hay. That's what they want. So we'll be able to give it to them. I don't have access to this land. That's because it's not my property there. Okay, we're back on my property again, and it doesn't really do anything. This means that if you somehow manage to get crops that you need to harvest over there, you're not going to be able to do that, because it's not yours. I don't know how you manage to put it over there, but if you do, you can't have it now. Basically, it's the way that works. So be prepared for that. Okay, go around here, pick up all of this, bring it around again. Yeah, got 68% of it full. Run this over, scoop up what we can of it, and then we start down the row, picking up all of that hay for our lovely little horses, or most of it anyway. Like I said, we're not overly concerned. I don't think they're going to go through it all that fast. They went through the oats pretty quick though. They're about halfway through them. And I filled up a whole container, so they better chill. I think because they don't have hay, they're eating more of the oats, so we'll make sure that they have plenty of hay now. They know. I think we can scoot through here and grab this that we missed. Or not. Oh, it's at 100%, so we have to go take this over to the horses and dump it into their food trough. So that's what we'll do. That's the water trough. We don't need that. That should be pretty full. We'll check it though. Hey! We'll take it all. Oh, look how happy they are. Happy horsies. Let's see in the menu here what percentage that made. Oh, that made almost half, I guess. So we'll keep on going. Look at me that way. You're getting food. I'll buy you more oats if I have to. You're such judgy horses. On an unrelated note, there is no glue factory in FarmSim. That's awful. Who said that? Yeah, I certainly didn't say that. Alright, we're going to try and grab this junk here. And then some of this junk here. Some of this junk here. I know, it's not the way you're intended to do it, but I found it wasn't really picking it up properly, so I'll just do it this way, and then we'll come back around. Yeah, that's 14% already. Look at it go. And any extra that we end up with, we'll take down to the, I'm pointing like you can see, and I'm pointing again. We'll take it down to the selling point down there and sell it. Because there's always more grass that we can do. Because we need money. We're only at, $9,800. We like money. Go around here. And I think we'll do the same thing here. You know what it looks like to pick up hay off the ground. So and what it looks like to dump it into the horses. So I will meet you guys back at the store if there's any left to sell. Well, we've filled up the oats for the horses, or filled up the hay for the horses, and we have plenty of straw or hay left, so we're going to take it up here to the sell point, and we're going to sell our excess hay. This will get our money up a little bit, and what it'll also allow us to do is we'll get a silo, and because I'm a big old nerd, it's going to look like the TARDIS, and that silo will allow us to store the excess. So we can have it for next time, rather than just selling it. And then when we have plenty in storage and we're completely caught up, we'll either get more horses or we'll do something different. Sell surplus at that point. But we're going to go ahead and finish up this harvest and make the sale that we need to make. And then I will come back to you. All right, this is the last of the hay off the ground, and we have yet another 66%. This is like a third, a fourth load that we've had just from that little grass area there, and yeah, it got us up to 15,000, almost 16,000 from 12,000, so 3,000 is not too shabby. And please, these, I don't think these numbers are anywhere near realistic, so please don't quit your job and go into debt buying farm equipment to try and make your living for reals this way, because I don't think the real world works that way. So don't do that. And so there we have our end figure, 17,788. Not too bad, just for the grass that was laying around out there that we mowed. Yeah, we'll take that. We will 100% take that. We will, I think, actually plow and plant that field with grass. The process is exactly the same as the other field was, so I'm not going to do that on camera and make you watch it. But, you know, when we come back next time, maybe we'll have some other chores to do around the farm. So whenever we have something new to do, I will go ahead and show it and film it, and you can see what it looks like. When it comes time to sell the horses, we'll do that together. But in the meantime, that's all we're going to do for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you don't, it won't continue, quite honestly. It's not on camera. I mean, I want to see what the horses do myself. So, thanks for watching, and you guys have a great weekend.